What's up, guys? Welcome back to Book Demystified. I'm really glad you're here because today's book, America's Cheapest Family Gets You Right on the Money by Steve Economides, dives into something we've all experienced but rarely talk about. You know that Sunday night feeling when you're lying in bed, scrolling through your bank account, and you're like, where did all my money go this month? You had good intentions, maybe even a budget, but somehow you're still living paycheck to paycheck, watching your friends post vacation photos while you're eating ramen for the third time this week. I'm not gonna lie, this book made me stop and think about every financial system I thought I had. Because here's the thing, Steve and Annette Economides raised 5 kids on one income in Arizona, saved over $78,000, and never felt deprived. Not once. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is some extreme couponing situation where they're eating expired food and wearing clothes from 1987, let me tell you what hit me hardest about their story. Steve wasn't born into money. He wasn't some financial genius with a trust fund. He was a regular guy working in advertising who got tired of the same cycle we all know. Work hard, spend everything, stress about money, repeat. But instead of just complaining about it or buying another personal finance book that would sit on his shelf, he and his wife decided to approach their finances like engineers. They built systems, real, practical systems that didn't require willpower or motivation or remembering to do 17 different things every day. You ever get that feeling when you're standing at Target and you went in for toothpaste, but somehow you're walking out with a cart full of stuff you needed and a receipt that makes your stomach drop? The Economides figured out why this keeps happening to all of us, and more importantly, what to do about it. They discovered that most people don't have money problems, they have system problems. Let me paint you a picture of what their grocery system looked like, because this is where it gets interesting. While most of us are wandering the aisles of Kroger or Safeway, throwing random stuff in our cart and hoping for the best, Steve created what he called the price book system. Sounds boring, right? But here's what's brilliant about it. He tracked the lowest price he'd ever seen for every item his family regularly bought. Not just sale prices, but rock bottom, once in a blue moon prices. So when Cheerios went on sale for $3, he knew that wasn't actually a deal because he'd seen them for $2.50 at a different store last month. When his local grocery store had a buy one get one free promotion on pasta sauce, he knew whether that was worth stocking up on or if he should wait. This wasn't about being cheap. It was about being strategic, the same way you might research the best price for a new laptop or compare car insurance rates. He applied that same energy to the stuff his family bought every single week. And here's where it gets really good. They weren't just saving money, they were buying time. Because when you know the real prices of everything, grocery shopping becomes this calm, confident experience instead of this stressful guessing game. No more standing in the cereal aisle for 10 minutes trying to do math in your head. No more buyer's remorse on the drive home. But the grocery system was just the beginning. Steve realized that every area of their life needed this same approach. Take the car situation. Instead of getting caught up in monthly payment thinking, like most of us do, they created a system around buying reliable used cars with cash. Not because they were against car loans philosophically, but because they ran the numbers and realized that car payments were keeping them broke. Hey, if you're getting value from these summaries and want to help us keep going, you can support us in a few simple ways. Subscribe, join as a member, or grab the book using our affiliate link below. And if you're feeling generous, you can even leave a tip via the thanks button available on the video. Every bit helps us bring more content like this your way. Now here's what really blew my mind about their approach to cars. Steve treated car buying like a project manager would approach a major initiative. He researched reliability ratings, calculated total cost of ownership, and created a timeline for when they'd need to replace each vehicle. But the genius part was how they funded it. Instead of making car payments to a bank, they made car payments to themselves. Every month, they put aside money in what they called their car fund. So by the time they needed a replacement, they had cash ready to go.
Think about how this changes everything. Most of us are trapped in this cycle where we're always making payments on a depreciating asset, but their system flipped that completely. They were always building wealth instead of giving it away to finance companies. And because they bought reliable used cars instead of brand new ones, they avoided that massive depreciation hit that happens the second you drive off the lot. But here's what I love most about Steve's philosophy. He wasn't trying to deprive his family or live like they were broke. He was trying to create freedom, real freedom, the kind where you don't check your bank balance before going out to dinner with friends, or where a surprise car repair doesn't send you into a panic spiral. Their system for family entertainment is a perfect example of this. Instead of saying, we can't afford to do anything fun, they got creative about how to have amazing experiences without breaking the bank. They discovered that some of the best family memories happen when you're not spending a fortune. Camping trips instead of expensive hotels, game nights instead of costly entertainment, cooking elaborate meals together instead of always eating out. And before you think this sounds like a life of sacrifice, let me tell you about their vacation system. They took incredible family trips, but they did it by being strategic about timing and planning. They'd travel during off-peak times when prices were lower, they'd stay in vacation rentals where they could cook some of their own meals, and they'd look for destinations where a dollar could stretch further. The result? Their kids got to experience amazing places and create lifelong memories, but without the financial stress that usually comes with family vacations. What really struck me was how Steve talked about the psychology of all this. He realized that most financial advice focuses on restricting yourself. Don't buy coffee, don't go out to eat, don't have any fun. But restriction only works for so long before you rebel against it. Instead, their systems were designed around abundance and choice. When you have a solid system in place, you can afford to be generous. You can afford to say yes to the things that matter most to you. The clothing system they developed is another perfect example. Instead of buying clothes randomly throughout the year whenever something wore out or went out of style, they'd do seasonal clothing assessments for the whole family. They'd figure out exactly what everyone needed, then shop strategically during end-of-season clearances and back-to-school sales. The kids always looked great, but they were spending a fraction of what most families spend on clothes. Here's what I think is the most powerful insight from this whole book. Steve discovered that the difference between people who are stressed about money and people who feel financially secure isn't usually income, it's systems. You probably know someone who makes way more money than you, but is always stressed about finances. And you might know someone else who makes less, but seems totally at peace with their money situation. The difference is almost always systems. The Economides proved that you don't need to earn six figures to build wealth and live well. You don't need to sacrifice everything you enjoy or live like you're in financial survival mode. You just need to approach your money with the same intentionality and strategy that you'd apply to any other important area of your life. Because when you have systems that work, managing money becomes automatic instead of stressful, and that changes everything about how you feel about your future and what's possible for your family. The beautiful thing about their story is that it's really not about being the cheapest family in America, it's about being the smartest family in America. And there's a huge difference between those two things.